Okay, so what's the plan today? We've got NixOS installed on my laptop, running a GNOME desktop environment, and I want to make a list of things that I would like to get done from here to have a system that works well enough for me. I don't actually require too many services or applications on my laptop or in my life, so it's a relatively easy thing, but there are some things that I think that I don't know how to do. So for one, I don't know anything about Nix. NixOS seemed cool. That's where we're starting from. So I need to learn Nix, and that's on the agenda. Something else that's on the agenda is that, so I flashed NixOS onto my laptop from a USB. I flashed it onto USB, installed it onto my laptop, and followed the graphical installation in order to get to this stage where we can have everything. And there's still parts of the UEFI that I don't like. So when I boot, now there's a red bar on top of my laptop hardware loader that doesn't look so great. Also, there's like a there's like a 10-second wait before actually booting into the system, where you can change which version of your OS or which version of your system you're loading into. So you can load into something like previous version or something from before. And I kind of wanted to just instantly go into the most recent version, and then I can try to go through the UEFI system if I need to change something, if I need to load because I messed up the configuration. Okay, so maybe oh yeah, so this is my first time on GNOME and I hate it. Mostly because of the fact that it feels very locked down. Like I can't create a shortcut on the display. I can't do things like change, I think, this taskbar, or at least I haven't found how to do that. And I saw that there are ways to change some of these things, like download extensions to change the GNOME desktop. But actually, what I kind of want to do is just switch to Cosmic and run the Cosmic Alpha for a little bit. I don't know if that would be good or bad, but generally speaking, I have Pop on my main PC. Right, we've experienced this before, so I think I can. Okay, the PC is down, but just imagine it's down because of the capture card. You can just imagine that it looks like Pop OS. So it's at least familiar to me, which is something that I think would be useful to have. I also generally can't. I have some accessibility options on, because my eyesight is bad enough that I can't see the 1.5 to my laptop screen. So I've got like large text fonts on. Otherwise, it was too hard for me to read the like file names, folder names. I guess, do I just have to command line this? So even this is like, okay. Alright, the annoying thing is that, like, I don't know how to use Nano. So, okay, I put this key binding up already. So, how do I do this? I can do something like touch and then ls. Okay, so maybe nano notes, and then try writing like this. So, okay, things to try to do, and we'll see if we can. Okay, things to do. Okay, so we need to set up secure bootloader. So that the red bar vanishes from my like loading window. We want to replace or shrink set wait time on load to either like 1 second, or even 1 second seems pretty generous. So I'm going to say 0 seconds to start. We want to set up Vim. So let's say install Vim. We want to change desktop environment to Cosmic Alpha. Or honestly, I might be okay with just changing it to like Pop, if Pop has a standard install. I'm okay with the Pop OS 24 or whatever it's on, 22 version. The one thing that I would say is that there's like a good chance that it doesn't actually, I don't know, mesh with my laptop. I have no idea. I have to figure that out. And okay, when I was starting to do this, I saw that there was when I was starting to think about putting Nix on my laptop, I saw something about running the Linux Surface kernel, and this was needed in order to get compatibility with just my hardware system. The kernel that I'm on right now, I have no idea. I have no idea what was installed through NixOS, and it's very probable that Nix just did like an automatic install of some very up-to-date version of the Linux kernel that contained all of these necessities. So like one thing that's clear is like my touchscreen doesn't work, but I actually don't think that it will work because of at least when I was going through the Linux Surface kernel, like the touchscreen was one of those things that just didn't work. So is this needed? That's something to check. And then after this, we can personalize and do some basic things. So maybe things to do first. And maybe step 0 is like, oh god, I don't want to like type random things. So maybe step 0 is like learn Nix, or maybe we just read the Nix manual. Things to do first, this, and then what next? So we'll customize I guess our life at that point. So we customize laptop, meaning customize like install NeoVim. Okay, actually, let's do install NeoVim. install. I actually need LaTeX just for my life. What else is crucial? I want to do things like install Julia, for example. Macaulay 2, Python. Some of those might already be present on this on the system. I'm not sure. But outside of that, also customize configuration for NeoVim, wallpaper, etc. I wonder. Yeah, it's kind of interesting in my mind because Nix says that it's like a very reproducible system. And I believe that to be true. At the same time, I don't understand how it's true from just seeing the configuration file that I was looking at before. In the sense that like not everything is going to be reproduced, right? Like seemingly, you know, my wallpaper is not going to be reproduced from the Nix config. So it's probably just like the concrete software that's on. Maybe just in the binary folder. Maybe just that is like reproducible. So here's something. I actually do not know how to save this. I think if I exit, then I can save. I see write out. And write is usually how this goes, you know. Yeah, let's write it. Wrote 15 lines. Okay, so now if I... Fuck. So... what is the command? Is this to standard out? Ugh. Maybe it's just standard. I don't remember. I could just Google it. So, standard out. Shell. Okay, let me just echo contents of file in bash. What is this? Standard in. So in this case, the redirect is just meaningless. To print out a file, just use the command below. Let's do this really quick. Okay. So this is what I was looking for, but I kind of want to... So... This isn't important. I'm just still learning. So. GNOME has some sweet sounds though. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So we're gonna read the manual. This is where we're starting. Comes installed, I saw this earlier. It's fucking hell long. Alright. It's okay. It's a programming language, so at least we get a programming language out of this. So we already got through these two, I guess, without actually looking at the documentation. So this manual describes how to install, use, and extend Nix, a Linux distribution based on the purely functional package management system Nix. That is composed using modules and packages defined in the Nix packages project. One thing that I should have checked actually is like, if I go to Macaulay 2 and I look at downloads, FreeBSD, we got GNU Linux, and it's actually not on here. So if I want Macaulay 2, then I have to figure that out. That's what we'll end up doing at some point. Okay, additional information regarding the Nix Package Manager and the Nix Packages project can be found in respectively the Nix Manual and the Nix Packages Manual. If you encounter problems, please report them on the Discourse, the Matrix Room, or on the NixOS channel, Libera Chat. The Nix channel on Libera Chat. What's crazy is I actually saw this somewhere else, the Oregon State University open source lab. To say that the lab was in jeopardy. This is not like a unique message. Maybe I saw it on Debian. Maybe that's it. They sponsored the Debian project. Classic. And by classic, I mean it's just really fucked right now for people funded through any kind of grant system or through the administrative branch, executive branch, administration, Congress. I don't know who's making decisions. If you encounter problems, please report them. Right. Alternatively, consider contributing to this manual. Bugs should be reported in NixOS's GitHub issue tracker. So NixOS init script. Generated script relies on bin. Build failure. Linux kernel, .packages, Linux 16, OpenRazor. Something Something update request. A6 box. libgs support missing. Build failure, build failure. Can Hydra reproduce this build failure? Hydra is currently rebuilding this package. I'm kind of curious just on how many. I could have looked at this earlier, or just looked for like. So this is just NixOS. We go to Nix. There's a good amount of pull requests. I've never really searched around for something that. What if we go to Arch? Arch Linux. Okay. Well, we're in deep already, right? I mean, we have NixOS on the computer, so nothing's gonna change what we're doing. It's just seeing if anything looks interesting. Okay, so we did, I think, get Nix correctly. Okay, that's about as far as we got. Manual installation. To access the command line of the graphical languages. I think we already got past this part. Networking and the installer. Partitioning and formatting, UEFI. So I've heard some things about flakes. That's something we have to figure out what it is. Let's check also just how much RAM am I using currently. About 3 gigs, and I have 16 available. That's kind of a lot. I actually don't know what it all is being used on. Most of this is just KGX wrapped, which is the terminal, and GNOME shell. Couldn't tell you necessarily what that means. Might also be the terminal. But GNOME is just my desktop, so maybe it's just the desktop doing something. Yeah, so it sits around 4 gigabytes of used RAM. Which is a lot, right? I mean, I actually saw Firefox is actually using the most. Okay. So one thing is, I mean, okay, so this computer's never going to be like a work computer for doing long compilation times. The computer that I have running the stream right now has 48 cores, and it has also 64 gigabytes of RAM, and that's like not enough for, it turns out, some of the computations that we were doing recently in some project. So the laptop will just be a little bit of a bonus if we need to try it. Okay, so let's see. Booting into NixOS via KEXEC. In some cases, your system might already be booted into pre-installed with another Linux distribution. Booting NixOS by attaching installation image is quite a manual process. Installing VirtualBox Guest. Installing from another Linux distribution. Installing behind a proxy. Changing the configuration. This is where we're going to start. And just to verify, let's go up and just see. This was where we were. Great, we didn't miss anything. Okay, changing the configuration. The file etc. NixOS configuration.nix contains the current configuration of your machine. Whenever you've changed something in that file, you should do NixOS rebuild switch to build the new configuration. Make it the default configuration for booting and try to realize the configuration of the running system, e.g. by restarting system services. The command does not stop user services automatically. NixOS rebuild only runs a daemon reload for each user with running user services. These commands must be executed as root, so you should either run them from root shell or by prefixing them with sudo. What does the sudo -i do? Alt in Firefox is some insanity. Okay, so let's open up a terminal and just check what the -i does. So -i. Log in. Run the shell specified by the target user's password database entry as a login shell. This means that login specific resource files such as profile, bash profile, or login will be read by the shell. If a command is specified, it is passed to the shell as a simple command using the C option. The command and any arguments are concatenated, separated by spaces after escaping each character, including white space with a backslash, except for alphanumerics, underscores, hyphens, $signs. If no command is specified, an interactive shell is executed. Sudo attempts to change to that user's home directory for running a shell. The command is run with an environment similar to the one user would receive at login. Most shells behave differently when a command is specified as compared to an interactive session. Actually seems like you just start a new shell with sudo privileges. Okay. And we verify that. Okay, so I think it is true. Actually, S starts one with root privileges. It does not load the target user's environment variables or startup scripts. This command starts a new interactive login shell for the target user. This means it sources the target user's environment variables and startup scripts. Huh. I kind of want to try doing that, but okay. Can I just close this? And then this one, same. Okay. Okie doke. You can also do NixOS rebuild tests to build the configuration and switch the running system to it, but without making it the boot default. So if, say, the configuration locks up on your machine, you can reboot to get back to a working configuration. There's also NixOS rebuild boot to build the configuration and make it the boot default. Do not switch to it now. So it will only take effect after the next reboot. It's kind of insane, actually, to do switch versus boot, in my opinion. I don't know why. You can make your configuration show up in a different submenu of the grub to boot screen. By giving it a different profile name, which causes the new configuration and previous ones created using -ptest show up in the grub submenu, NixOS profile tests. This can be useful to separate test configurations from stable configurations. Ooh. A REPL is also available. You can inspect your configuration and use the Nix language. Your configuration is loaded into the config variable Use tab for auto completion. Use the :R command to reload the configuration files. C:" or Nix REPL in the Nix manual to learn more. Okay, what I just realized is that this is not the Nix manual. So we're a little bit double fucked, I think. This is the same. Nix is a purely functional package manager. This means that it treats packages like values in purely functional programming languages, in purely functional programming languages such as Haskell. They are built by functions that don't have side effects. I've actually never used one of these. And they never change after they have been built. Nix stores packages in the Nix store, usually the directory /nix/store, where each package has its own unique subdirectory. Can we find that? All right, what do we have installed? A bunch of shit. Just a bunch of shit. Let me see if I can even scroll to the top. Jesus. Oh my god, I actually can't scroll to the top. Unless that was the top, in which case I have exactly 9,999. Packages installed. So there's like no time. There's like never a time, right, where this is actually needed to be read. Can we do that? Less store. Oh wait, CD. Oh, it's not a file. It's a fucking directory. Although I could have taken those files and put them somewhere and then read that. It's okay. I don't actually care. I actually kind of wonder what the probability of two of these hashes actually being equal across the whole file system. So let's do that really quick. How would I do that? There's like a probability of choosing two from haystack. This is not quite the thing that I wanted. I guess I wanted an approximation. And it's not quite the same as actually choosing two from a stack. It's more like, this is like the birthday paradox. That's what it's called. Birthday paradox. It's the probability that among the group there are at least two things equal from a set that you're allowed to select from with repetition. And there's an exponential formula for doing this. This is a good way to think about it though, which is like you take the number of options that you have and you calculate the probability that another choice is not at the same option. So in this case, the number of symbols that were able to be used for this, so let's clear first off. Just read me everything again. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So it's 32, which come from probably, let's say 36 guys. So there's 36. There's 32 characters that come from a list of 36. So you can do 32 times, so that's just 36 to the 32. Oh, this is gonna be too big. So that's a ginormous number. Okay, 10 to the 49. Okay, there's gonna be no repetitions. It is kind of interesting though, this birthday attack. Yeah, so you imagine, okay, you pick one of the 6 to the times 10 to the 49 elements. What are the chances the next one is different? Well, you just do it's got to be something else. So you subtract 1 from the numerator divided by this number, and then you can do this the number of times that you're picking. So in our case, we're gonna pick something like 10,000, maybe over 10,000, and well, you can tell that even though it's small, it's gonna be tiny. There's an approximation though, which is just using the E formula. So you can approximate this probability. This is roughly the thing that I'm trying to say, just subtracting 1 each time. And you can approximate this using a Taylor series if you actually multiply out all these terms for the exponential. And the exponent ends up being about this thing. So n squared over 2d, where n is the choices, in our case 10,000, and d is the total number. So let's do 1 minus e to the 10, 1, 2, 3 squared divided by this number. And do that. And then I forgot the negative sign. Okay, so, and I'm obviously fucking something up. Oh no, that was right. Oh yeah, yeah. So it says basically 42 zeros and then a 1. Right, which is small. It's actually crazy. So there's effectively no chance that two of these will have the same hash without some kind of intervention. Okay, a little tangent. So we can have multiple versions or variants of a package installed at the same time. This is especially important when different applications have dependencies on different versions of the same package. Prevents the DLL hell. Because of the hashing scheme, different versions of a package end up in different paths in the next store, so they don't interfere with each other. At the same time, I think that means that my system is going to be like super bloated after I download Python 16 times on accident. An important consequence is that operations like upgrading or uninstalling an application cannot break other applications, since these operations never destructively update or delete files that are used by other packages. That seems really cool, except, like I said before, I am absolutely going to unintentionally clog my system. We're just going to check. I want to see, you know, in Windows, good old Windows, there's a way to see just like disk space that's used and disk space that's unallocated. I kind of think that it was in the thing that I was just on, but okay, so we've got 211 gigs available, which means that we used 22. But NixOS is only using, maybe there's some amount that's being used for swap space. Maybe swap space isn't listed. NixOS is already using 8 gigs. I don't think that's as much as I think this is only going to get worse. So I just have to be careful about. Installing and uninstalling. Multiple versions. You can have multiple versions or variants of a package installed at the same time. Blah blah blah. Blah. And important consequences. Blah blah blah. Complete dependencies. Nix helps you make sure that package dependency specifications are complete. In general, when you're making a package for a package management system like RPM, you have to specify for each package what its dependencies are. But there are no guarantees that this specification is complete. If you forget a dependency, then the package will build and work correctly on your machine if you have the dependency installed, but not on the end user's machine if it's not there. Since Nix, on the other hand, doesn't install packages in global locations, but in package-specific directories, the risk of incomplete dependencies is greatly reduced. Oh, because each package relies on what's just in its package-specific directory. And so it won't know to go to user bin or something like this if it should, I guess, the risk of incomplete dependencies. This is because tools such as compilers don't search in per packages directories such as Nix store blah, blah, blah include. So if a package builds correctly on your system, This is because you specified the dependency explicitly. That actually sounds like a lot of work. This takes care of the build time dependencies. This takes care of the build time dependencies. Okay. Once a package is built, runtime dependencies are found. There's a difference between once a package is built. Runtime dependencies are found by scanning binaries for the hash parts of Nix store paths. Once a package is built, runtime dependencies are found by scanning binaries for the hash parts of Nix store paths. This actually could be so funny. It could be so fun if you rolled the lottery of like, it's not even like a possible lottery. I mean, like maybe like once in the duration of the universe would someone roll into just like, oh, it tried calling the wrong dependency and then crashing your system or something like that. But I think what it's saying is like, once you built a package, if you're trying to like open something or do something that would actually depend on some binary, then I guess what it does is it could do a couple of things. It could scroll through and search off of like, I mean, it says it searches just the hash parts, which sounds like it would take forever to do if it just went like, I mean, how do you effectively search this? I feel like AI would have an explanation that would also be just summarizing what is found below. Is my right click like really far down on the right? No, I just don't have it on for some reason. Two-finger right click. Scanning the output paths of built packages for references to other Nix store paths. For references to other Nix store paths. Just specifically, it searches for the hash part of these store paths within the files of the build package. Unique store paths. Every package and its dependencies in Nix are stored in unique paths. These paths have a hash. After a package is built, Nix scans its output files. For occurrences of the hash parts of other Nix store paths. Okay, so it sounds like something like this is happening. So you build a package. This is the only way that I can imagine this works. Is like you build a package, and as you're building it, you have, let's say, like some dependency tree. And we imagine like, okay, we imagine that as we build something, we're basically calling a function that calls like another function, which calls another function and goes up the dependency tree. I don't know what build package means, which is why there's like a lot of questionable assumptions here. But it makes me think something like you have this chain of packages and you hash that chain, and then that hash should show up as a list somewhere inside of the Nix store. Just because for the package to have been built, that dependency tree hash that was kind of following up this function chain, it should be coming from somewhere inside of your system. And so then it takes that from your system and then puts it wherever it needs to be, I guess. Nix has multi-user support. This means that non-privileged users can securely install software. Each user can have a different profile, a set of packages in the Nix store that appear in the user's path. Each user can have a different profile. Set of packages in the Nix store that appear in the user's path. Set of packages in the Nix store that appear in the user's path. If a user installs a package that another user has already installed, the package won't be built or downloaded a second time. It'll just be added to the user's path, I guess. At the same time, it is not possible for one user to inject a Trojan horse into a package that might be used by another user. Because I guess they have different hashes. Atomic upgrades and rollbacks. Since package management operations never overwrite packages in the Nix store, but just add new versions and different paths, they are atomic. So during a package upgrade, there is no time window in which the package has some files from the old version, some files from the new version, which would be bad because a program will crash if it started during that period. And since packages aren't overwritten, the old versions are still there after an upgrade. That's what sounds awful, right? So then there is some kind of garbage collection for this, I guess. When you uninstall a package like this, Nix and uninstall Firefox, the package isn't deleted from your system right away. After all, you might want to do a rollback, or it might be in the profiles of other users. Instead, unused packages can be deleted safely by running the garbage collector. So, Nix environment upgrade attribute Nix packages.somePackage and Nix environment rollback to an old version. Another command, Nix environment uninstall Firefox. The package isn't deleted from the system right away. Said unused packages can safely be deleted by running the garbage collector. Nix collect garbage. This deletes all packages that aren't in use by any user profile or by a currently running program. Okay. So you kind of have to double whammy it, right? Call Nix uninstall Firefox, then call Nix collect garbage. So you can uninstall a bunch of stuff and then collect garbage at the end. Packages are built from Nix expressions, which is a simple functional language. A Nix expression describes everything that goes into a package build task, which they call a derivation. It's kind of funny. It's like backwards. It should be called an integration. Because, right, yeah, it should be called an integration. Derivation would be like you derive something from it, right? I mean, I guess you can find inside of the package this dependency or something. Or maybe this is like everything that you need to derive the package. That makes kind of sense. I was thinking something like the dependencies should be called like integrations. You combine all these integrations into new package. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm gonna get some water actually. Okay, other packages, sources. the build script, environment variables for the build script, etc. Nix tries very hard to ensure that Nix expressions are deterministic. Building a Nix expression twice should yield the same result. So I guess that's like saying that the hash should not be. Okay. I actually don't know. Because it's functional language, it's easy to support building variants of a package. Because it's a functional language, it's easy to support building variants of a package. Turn the Nix expression into a function. And just call it any number of times with the appropriate arguments. Due to the hashing scheme, variants don't conflict with each other in the Nix store. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is like, I want something that's red, I want something that's blue. Call it once with red, call it once with blue. I just copy the code over and change the argument. Transparent source binary deployment. Nix expressions generally describe how to build a package from source. So an installation action like nix env install attribute nix packages.firefox could cause quite a bit of build activity, as not only Firefox but also all of its dependencies all the way up to the C library and the compiler. You'd have to install the C library and the C compiler. Okay, they'd all have to be built, at least if they are not already in the Nix store. This is a source deployment model. For most users, building from source is not very pleasant as it takes a long time. However, Nix can automatically skip building from source and instead use a binary cache. A web server that provides pre-built binaries. A web server. For instance, when asked to build Nix store blah Firefox from source, Nix first checks if the cache at NixOS of this thing exists. If it does, it fetches the pre-built binary referenced from there. Otherwise, it falls back to building from source. That's crazy. That seems a little bit futuristic. You want to build a program, and to install the binary, it finds it on the web and then brings it to you, instead of like compiling it in your own system. I don't know. That also seems a little bit crazy to me, but I almost would rather just build it from source on my own computer every time. Unless that takes like an excruciating amount of time, in which case I don't know what I'm talking about. Nix packages collection. We provide a large set of Nix expressions containing hundreds of existing Unix packages, the Nix package collection. Managing build environments. Nix is extremely useful for developers as it makes it easy to automatically set up the build environment for a package. This is extremely useful for developers as it makes it easy to automatically set up the build environment for a package. Given a Nix expression that describes the dependencies of your package, the command nix shell will build or download those dependencies if they're not already in your store, and then start a bash shell in which all necessary environment variables are set, such as compiler search paths. For example, the following command gets all dependencies of the pan newsreader, as described by its Nix expression. Nix shell, we do quote, Nix packages, attr, pan. You're then dropped into a shell where you can edit, build, and test the package. Okay, so then you go to Nix shell, unpack phase, cd into pan, configure phase, build phase. Nix runs on Linux and Mac. Nix is a Linux distribution based on Nix. It uses Nix not just for the package management, but also to manage the system configuration. For example, to build files and etc. This means, among other things, that it is easy to roll back the entire configuration of the system to an earlier state. Also, users can install software without root privileges. For more information and downloads, see NixOS homepage. Cool. Quick start. I want to just see... In the quick start, I'm gonna... Oh god, it's super quick. This chapter is important for people who don't like reading documentation. For more in-depth information, you are kindly referred to subsequent chapters. Install Nix. Run software without installing it permanently. Exiting the shell will make the programs disappear again. Free up storage space. Collect garbage. Okay. I must have Nix on NixOS, right? So let's get out of some of these. Get out of that one too. Nix is currently supported on these platforms. Install the latest version. Let's open a terminal and do this. Warning, this program is experimental. Nix, a tool for reproducible and declarative. Main commands: Nix build, Nix develop, Nix flake, Nix profile, Nix run, Nix search. There's no like version though to check. Actually, what I was kind of looking for. Two 2.28.4, okay. Okay, so we have Nix, right? I'm running NixOS. Okay, to use Nix, some environment variables should be set. In particular, paths should contain directories, prefix bin, and squiggly.nix profile bin. If you need to specify a custom certificate bundle to account for an HTTPS intercepting man in the middle proxy, you must specify the path to the certificate bundle in the environment variable. This is kind of interesting. Writing to the local store with a newer version of Nix, for example, by building derivations with Nix build or Nix store realize, may change the database schema. Reverting to an older version of Nix may therefore require purging the store database before it can be used. I didn't really think about that, but it's kind of funny. I guess something like, if you upgrade Nix, maybe they've decided to use a better hash, or even not a better hash, but maybe a different hash, or maybe something like they changed some file structure, or I don't know, when you hash Nix because you were writing in Nix, it's now changed the version number, and so the version on your computer. Yeah, I wonder where Nix is stored. Is Nix also stored in the Nix store? How does that make sense? I mean, I should probably go to bed soon. Okay. So Nix language is really what I wanted to get to, and I didn't get to that. So at some point I'm probably going to. So I'm gonna do this. I think I'm just gonna read the whole documentation, and that's how we're gonna start this journey, I think. So the Nix store is an abstraction to store immutable. Yeah. Wait a second. That's probably it. I mean, yeah. I'm probably just gonna read this manual on stream, I think. So I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed, and then I'll continue another time. If you were here, thanks for joining, and have a good one.